Hello my quilting family. We're here with another part of our case study on the friendship stars. Today we're going to talk about scale, but we're just not going to talk about scale with the friendship star. We're going to talk about scale in the fabric. So these are the cutting instructions. I'll give you cutting instructions below in the show notes. But these are the oversized blocks that we made. And yes, I had lots. You could go scrappy if you don't have enough to make an entire big block. You could go like with a bunch of low volumes, different ones, and different colored ones. And this is what it would look like if it's all the same color. So there again, you're going to have this block in a quilt. If it's the only one that's this size, will end up being the focal point of the quilt. And we did some other blocks as well. We did, the sailboats and the little prince and princess themed. And we did, I just love this fabric. This Egyptian fabric with the little cars. I thought it was cute. And we also, of course, did the little blocks. We did a bunch of these because they were so much fun to sew up, and I had lots of fabric that I could play with. Again, I'll give you the cutting instructions for these as well in the show notes. And there's quite a few of them, as you can see. They kind of multiplied, and we just had too much fun with these. And they also look really cool in a quilt when you're done because it breaks up that monotonous, 12-inch square, 12-inch square, 12-inch square, and then 4 little ones. It'll do that, like, oh, it's broken up. So here we go. Now, I'm going to talk to you about scale in fabric. Because we come across this kind of stuff all the time, and it's really hard to determine. Like when you're using a big block like we were doing, you could go with really large scale prints, and it looked fine because it's okay to use a really large scale print when you're using a really large block. But if you're doing really small blocks where, let's say you're cutting a 2-inch square out of something, well, is it going to be blue? Because a 2-inch square out of this piece right here is not going to be blue. Neither is this one, and neither is this one, right? So you have to watch your scale on your prints. And again, it also comes with, like there's a lot of background blue here, but again, you've got to watch where you're cutting your 2-inch or 2.5-inch square out of because it's not going to be blue. And this one, when you squint your eyes at a distance, it reads blue, which is really strange because it doesn't look blue, but it is blue when you kind of like, okay, yeah, it reads blue. But when you're cutting it into small pieces, it's not necessarily going to be blue. It could be yellow, it could be orange, it could be red. So be very careful. Now, this one as well is a large scale print. Even though it reads blue on blue, it will have, doesn't matter where you cut this, it's going to read blue in a smaller one. But it is considered a large scale print. It's a blue on blue essentially. But this one is a blue on purple, right? So it'll probably read blue. Don't worry too much about it. If you're doing smaller blocks, look at the scale of your pattern. Now this is a really cute pale blue and floral, and it's got all sorts of little cute little dots inside the daisies. And this one is what we consider a small scale print. This would be going anywhere, like a small scale print goes anywhere. And the same with this one. It's got little Cheerios and blocks and triangles on it. It's just cute, right? And of course, your marbled prints are all going to read, like this one in particular would probably read blue, no matter where you cut it. It would read blue with hits of purple. So now on the lower end, we're going to put large scale neutrals in large blocks. Now this reads pale blue and polar bears. But in order to see the polar bear, you have to put it into a large scale block. And in order for it to read a low volume, you'd almost have to put this one up against something that's really quite dark, right? Otherwise it's not going to read a low volume, right? And the same with this one is a large scale as well. And this, I just love this fabric. I wish I'd have bought more of it now. This one is also a large scale, so you'd want to make sure you put this in blocks where a lot of, where is the blocks here? A lot of the print is showing, right? A lot of this print would be showing. And the same with this one, because, you know, this one's going to read low volume up against the navy. And I just love these Australian prints. Isn't this cool? These are just so neat. But again, they're large scale, and you'd have to put something like this up against a really dark color for it to read a neutral. But this is beautiful fabric. Now, the smaller scale stuff, like this kind of a floating, I don't know what you'd call it, floating dots. It's got little wisps of navy through it. It's going to read a low volume because the background color is such a pale blue. The Bonnie Hunter put out a rule of thumb on neutrals and colors, and her line is a brown paper bag. And that, you know, and that does work. But you have to kind of be careful as to where you're putting them. And this is a large scale. However, it will read a neutral. This one is just cute. It's got little polka dots or little X's on it. And it's all the little primary colors. So when you're using, like this one would read neutral no matter what the blue that you're putting at the side. So if you're going to put this and this together, it's going to read like white and blue, right? But when you get into these other ones, you know, you have to take your dark, it's like taking your darkest neutral and putting it up against your darkest fabric to get contrast, because you're looking for good contrast. And this one is here, the one with the Cheerios and the rectangles and the squares. That's kind of a mid-tone, I wouldn't say dark, but it would also work well up against this pale blue because there's not too much navy in any one place. So kind of watch your scale, your value of your fabric, whether it be dark, light, medium. You want to put your medium stuff against your medium neutrals, your dark colors against your darker low volumes, and then your lightest blues against your, you know, your very palest ones. So you get really good contrast going here. Also watch your scale, because scale makes a block sometimes look really cool, and sometimes when it's cut wrong, it's like, no, you shouldn't, maybe, you know. But anyways, but have fun with this. Have lots and lots of fun with this. I hope you are sewing along this time. It will be a lot of fun to see what your blocks look like. We're currently trying to work on a website, but you know, it's just me and my spouse. So have fun, have a great day, and have fun sewing. Bye. If you have questions about what you saw in this video, or you have ideas for content or something you want to see us do, please put those comments in the description below. But also, while you're there, like, share, and subscribe with your friends. That would really help us out. Okay, I want to thank you and have a great day.